Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good. My name is Kelly Mathis, and I work for Chesterfield County Youth Planning and Development and provide staff support to SAFE. Have you guys heard of SAFE before? You use, you lose? Okay, good. SAFE stands for Substance Abuse Free Environment, which is Chesterfield County's coalition to prevent substance abuse. Several years ago, Cheryl Adams, the Substance Abuse Prevention Specialist for Chesterfield County Youth Planning and Development Office, had the privilege to sponsor a team of 4 Chesterfield County high school students who attended a week-long leadership conference at Longwood called YADAP. YADAP stands for Youth Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Project. It is designed for students from across Virginia who are committed to living a healthy, alcohol and drug-free life. At the conference, student teams develop projects that they bring back to their home communities. Cheryl's team wanted to help their peers become more aware of the consequences of being caught with drugs. They developed the dramatization you're going to see this morning. The persons whom you will see in this dramatization are playing their real-life professional roles. What you see really happens. So I'm pleased to present to you Student versus Marijuana.
Good morning, Sean. How you doing? Doing fine. I'm calling you up here because we've been made aware that you may have some illegal substance or marijuana on you. Do you have anything to say? Okay. Since we do have suspicion of that, I'm going to have another administrator come up here and we're going to do a search. Do you have any questions? All right. Mr. Tully, this is Shawnee here. We have suspicion that she may have marijuana on her, and so we need to do a search. Okay. So Shawnee, please stand up. If you can, take off your jacket and give that to Mr. Tully, please. Okay. Can you take your shoes off for me? You sit down and take your shoes off. Can you lift up your... There you go. Check your socks inside, please. Okay. Can you stand up and turn around and pat your back? There you go. Turn around. Can you pull out your pockets? Everything in your pocket, please, on the table. There. Can you pull those out, please? Okay. All right. Take a seat. Shawnee. Do you have anything to say about this? What is this? Did you find anything else, Mr. Tully? Okay, you can put your shoes back on. Shawnee, at this time, I'm going to call Officer Baird up because I have reasonable doubt that this may be marijuana. Okay. While I do that, I'm going to get you to read out a statement. Do you have anything to say? Please write that out for me. Officer Baird, this is Shawnee. We found the substance on her this morning.
We were told that she may have something on her. We did a search, and this is what we found. Take a look at that, please.
Shawnee, I'm Officer Barrett with Chesterfield County Police Department. And based on what I'm looking at, I'm going to go ahead and place you under arrest for possession of marijuana, so I need you to stand up, turn around, please.
Shawnee, at this time, I'm going to also call your mom. That is Miss Garber, correct? Okay. Shawnee, your mom's going to head down at this time. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to tell the procedures that we're going to have to follow. Ms. Garber, hopefully we'll be here soon. Shawnee, we're also going to go check your lockers. Okay. Is there anything in there that we're going to find? Okay, we're still going to check those as well. We'll just wait a moment. There's Ms. Garber right there. There she is.
What's going on here?
Ms. Garber, come on in. My name is Mr. Romer.
Yes. Why is my daughter not in class?
Well, come on, take a seat. Let's talk real quick. Ms. Garber, this morning we were informed that she possibly had a substance on her that was illegal. So I saw the bus and brought her to the office. We talked, and we told her, informed her that of the suspicion. We did a search with another administrator in the room, and we found an officer there actually has a substance with him.
Well, you know, I know this is a school, you don't have a lab or anything, so are you releasing my daughter to me? Is that what's going on here?
We'll determine that. I have to test the substance and determine that it is marijuana.
Well,
So that confirmation is
So what I'm going to do now is give you some information, give you a letter that will describe the behavior. Also, what we're going to do is I'm going to get a meeting with Mrs. Frayer, the principal, and we're going to do that now. Okay. Do you have any questions?
I've got to get back to work. I can't just leave work anytime. My job's important to my family, and this is important, but
Absolutely.
I'm kind of taken off guard here. I've got to go home, I've got to read this, I've got to figure out what's going on here.
Well, what we'll do, we'll have a meeting with Ms. Frayer quickly to help you out, and then she'll kind of give you more information so you can be well informed. Okay.
Okay.
At this time, we're going to go to Ms. Frayer, and your parental rights are with that, and that's the letter as well. So let's go talk to Ms. Frayer, the principal. After that, you're going to have a meeting with Officer in Conduct at the county, and she'll give you more information on that as well. Okay? So at this time, we're going to go out and go meet with Ms. Frayer.
I'm sure this is a
Thank you.
mistake. We're going to get this cleared up. Thank you.
Coordinator of Student Conduct for Chesterfield County Public Schools.
Garber, this is my daughter, Shawnee.
Good morning, Mrs. Barber. I'm Mrs. Coleman, and Shawnee. I'm Mrs. Hill. Do you mind setting up here, please?
Have a seat. Okay, sugar, we're here to clear this up. That's why we're here. We're gonna get this all cleared up. Thank you for meeting with us. This has been a nightmare.
Good morning, Mrs. Barber. As I said. Do you understand why you're here this morning, dear? Tell me why. Okay. As you know, Mrs. Sprayer, your principal at Manchester Middle, has recommended to the Chesterfield County School Board and to the superintendent that you be expelled from school. And the purpose of today's meeting is for you to briefly share with me what happened that morning about 2 weeks ago at the school. I understand the school resource officer was involved and you have been charged with possession of marijuana on school grounds.
And that's why we're here. We're gonna clear this up. This was friends of hers. She got with the wrong people, but we're gonna clear this up. I know that this is the school. You want her to get a good education. That's why we're here. She's been out of school. We've got to get her back in school.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Yes, ma'am. You will have an opportunity to share your concerns. But right now, the focus is going to be on your daughter. She is the student in Chesterfield County Schools. She is the one that's being recommended for expulsion. She is the one right now that is not being able to have her education. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time speaking with her, please. Do you mind telling me briefly what happened the morning of October 21st at Manchester Middle? Obviously, so your reason for taking it was to look cool, is that correct? Have you achieved that goal? Are you looking cool with your friends, or are you currently someone who cannot attend school? Sometimes when we're doing something, we have to think of the end result. I appreciate your honesty here. Do you know what the standards for student conduct says will happen if a student is on school grounds with marijuana? It doesn't really say anything about the suspension. It just says that you will be recommended by the principal for expulsion, and that's what's happening. Today, I do not have the authority to expel you from school. My job today is to meet with you, hear your side of the story, and again, I thank you for your honesty, and to hear your mother's concerns. At the end of this meeting, I will tell you whether or not I plan to move the case forward to the school board. The school board then would meet, and they would have to determine if you could be expelled from school. The authority I have is to suspend you up to 364 days. A suspension is not the same as an expulsion. An expulsion generally is about 18 months out of school. Ms. Barber?
My understanding is that, you know what, my daughter has admitted to doing wrong. She's a teenager, frontal lobe, last part to develop, and decision making, I get all that. She made a mistake. She's admitted to her mistake. She's just a youth. We're trying to move forward here. I know the school system wants her to get a good education. You know what? Manchester Middle just isn't the school for her anyway. I know the SRO told me about some kids she was hanging with, but you know, my daughter is a responsible young lady, and I just want to get her back in school. So we'll just go to another school in the county. I don't think Manchester Middle is a good fit for her.
And you're right. According to your daughter's history, she has been a good student, discipline-wise and academically at the school. However, having marijuana on school grounds is against school board policy as well as against the law. Now, I understand you're not happy at this moment with Manchester Middle. You may not have been happy with Manchester for a while. However, she cannot go to any school in Chesterfield County during this time frame until the school board meets and reaches a decision.
You know, I guess she'll just have to go to, I mean, I can't afford to send her to private school. She can go to Richmond and go to school with her dad. I mean, her dad lives in Richmond, so she can just go to Richmond and go to school there, and I don't know what else to do.
Your father lives in Richmond? I do not work for Richmond City Public Schools. I can just share with you that once a student is expelled from school in the state of Virginia, 99.9% of the time, another school division will uphold that expulsion. My office works very closely with the surrounding school divisions. And I'm very sure that Richmond City, if we expel your daughter for possession of marijuana on school grounds, Richmond City will not allow her to attend school here. They will know, they will have the paperwork, and that office communicates with my office on a very frequent basis.
I don't have the money to send her to private school. I mean, she has a brother that plays football for the high school. I mean, she has a little sister that's in the 5th grade at the elementary school, and she's getting ready to be in a school play very soon. I mean, we're involved in Chester. We're a good family. We are. We're a good family. We go to the school functions. I mean, you're saying I can't even, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think.
I'm saying that if your daughter is expelled from school, she cannot be on any school grounds. Obviously, on the morning of October 21st at the bus stop, your daughter wasn't thinking of any of those things. She was aware she had a brother and sister. She was aware that she needed her education, but she wasn't thinking beyond that moment of wanting to be cool around her friends.
How's she gonna feel when we go to sit and watch her brother play football on Friday night, and she can't go to Chesterfield County Schools, and we're sitting there as a family, and all the other kids are gonna be looking at her?
Well, she won't be able to attend that. She cannot be on school grounds for any type of activity. Now, if you have anything else to say, this case will go forward to the school board. You do have the right to appeal. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Any questions?
Shawnee, I cannot believe. Thank you for meeting with us. We're gonna get this straight. I cannot believe something. Hang in with. We're gonna leave it at that.
Shawnee has gone before the school board and been expelled from school. It is now 1 month later in the 12th District Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. The Honorable Edward Robbins presiding. Please note this is a judicial proceeding and you are in the courtroom. And please behave appropriately.
All right.
Judge, the next case will be the Commonwealth versus Shauna Garber.
Very well. Sir? Very good. Ma'am, are you Miss Garber? Ma'am, are you Miss Garber? Are you Miss Garber? Very good. And ma'am, are you Miss Garber's mother? Thank you for coming. Counsel, your client is charged with possession of marijuana, ready to proceed to trial, sir. Client's plea. Which plea, sir? A not guilty plea has been entered. Please be seated. Mr. LaRue for first witness.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth's first witness will be Mr. Romer.
Mr. Romer, please come forward, sir. The court will swear you in. Sir, if you'll turn and face me, raise your right hand and be sworn. Sir, do you swear or affirm the evidence you should give in the case now and here you should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Sir, please be seated. Mr. LaRue, for your witness, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, you're Todd Romer, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then could you tell His Honor how you're employed?
By Chesterfield County.
And what is it that you do?
Assistant principal.
And where at?
Manchester Middle School.
All right, am I correct that Manchester Middle School is located on Hull Street here in Chesterfield County?
Yes, sir.
Were you so employed as an administrator on September 1st of 2014?
Yes, sir.
On that day, did you come into possession of certain information related to Shawnee Garber?
Yes, sir.
Could you share with Judge Robbins the type of information you received about Ms. Garber?
A student came to me in the bus loop and said that Shawnee was showing people that she had a bag of marijuana. So I approached her as she was coming off the bus brought it to my office. At that time, I ordered that it was sufficient and that Officer, or Mr. Tully, the other administrator, and I would be doing a search. Upon that search, we did find that it had marijuana in possession.
Mr. Roman, where did you find the marijuana?
It was actually in her pants pocket.
Did you remove it from her pants pocket, or did you watch somebody else remove it from her pants pocket? How did it come out of her pants pocket?
We asked her to empty her pockets and put anything she had in her pockets on the table, and as she did, the bag was there.
I'm going to show you an item and ask whether or not you recognize this item.
It does look like yes.
All right, and this item was on the, she took out of her pocket, put on the table, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, at some point in time, did you take possession of the item?
I did, yes.
And what did you do with the item after you took possession of it?
I immediately called Officer Barrett, our SRO, to the school.
And did you at some point in time give the item to Officer Barrett?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Judge, at this time, I'd like to introduce this item as Commonwealth number 1.
Defense, any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. At the time of the search, there was no police officer present. Ms. Garbo or any parent was present for that search. We questioned the line of custody, so we do object with arguing the search is improper and the marijuana is quite admissible.
Sir, I don't believe the law says that a search incident to an arrest or a Fourth Amendment search requires the presence of a parent. Are you aware of any case law that holds differently?
Not, Your Honor.
All right, then that objection is overruled. With regard to the issue of chain of custody, the the administrator testified that he saw the marijuana be removed from your client's pocket by her when she was asked to empty her pockets onto the desk. Where's the issue with chain of custody, sir?
Well, just between the assistant principal and the police officer.
And as the assistant principal testified, he gave the material over to the police officer. Chain of custody is established to that point. The objection is overruled. Any other objections, sir?
No, Your Honor.
The exhibit is admitted.
Judge, I cast a witness.
Your witness, sir?
We have no questions for this witness.
No questions for the administrator?
No.
Sir, thank you for your testimony. You may stand down. Mr. LaRufa, next witness.
Officer Barrett.
Sir, if you'll take the stand, please. Sir, do you swear or affirm the evidence you should give in the case now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, please be seated.
Sir, you're James Barrett, is that correct?
I am.
And you're employed as a police officer in Chesterfield County, is that correct?
It is.
And your current assignment as of September the 1st of 2014 was as a school resource officer over at Manchester Middle School, is that correct?
It is.
On that day, did you have an occasion to get some sort of radio communication or some sort of communication from Mr. Romer related to a young person that he had in his office?
I did.
And based on that contact and communication, did you go down to Mr. Romer's office?
I did.
When you went down there, did you see a student in his office?
I did.
Was that Shawnee Garber?
It was.
Taking a look at the young lady that's between counsel and her mother, do you recognize that young lady as being Shawnee Garber?
I did.
When you got to Mr. Romer's office, did he provide you with the substance?
He did.
And did you take possession of that substance?
I did.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as Commonwealth number 1 and ask whether or not you recognize this item.
This would be the item I took possession of from Mr. Brown.
All right, and once you took possession of that item, Officer Barrett, whether you did it right there or you did it a short time later, did you have an occasion utilizing one of your police kits to field test the marijuana?
I did.
And what were the results of the field test?
Confirmed positive marijuana.
Very good. Introduce, pass the witness, Your Honor.
Very well. Defense, any cross for the police officer? All right then, officer, thank you very much for your testimony, sir. You may stand down. Mr. LaRufa, next witness.
Judge Commonwealth rests.
Defense, the Commonwealth has rested. Any evidence to present on your client's case in chief?
Your Honor, I've discussed my client, writing a legal statement and testifying before the court. We've decided not to practice that right today, so
Very well then. Mr. LaRufa, do you wish to argue findings?
Judge, I'll submit it based on the facts that Your Honor has heard.
Very well. Defense, you wish to argue findings?
yeah, Your Honor.
Very well then. Defendant and counsel, please stand. Ma'am, the court, having heard the evidence and testimony adduced today, as well as the comments by the lawyers on both sides, finds you guilty of possession of marijuana as charged in the petition. You may be seated. Mr. LaRufa, evidence on disposition, sir.
Your Honor, I call Ms. Maya.
Ms. Maya, if you approach the court, may I swear you in. Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Ma'am, do you swear or affirm the evidence you should give in the case now and here should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please be seated. Mr. LaRufa, when she's ready, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, you're Amber Mayo, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're employed as a probation officer with the Court Service Unit here in Chesterfield County, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And am I correct that at least since September the 1st, you've had some interaction with Shayna Garber, the city council, is that correct?
Yes, I have.
What was the reasoning for your contact? Were you supervising her, or were there some other reasons why you were having contact with her?
Sir, she just had one prior contact with our court. She actually was caught with marijuana in a county park a few months ago, charged with possession of marijuana. She was allowed to participate in our diversion program. She successfully completed it, so she's no longer eligible for any more diversions. I met with her before court today to give her a random drug screen, and she did test positive for marijuana.
Very good, thank you. Yes, witness.
Counsel on the cross of the probation officer. Please be seated. Thank you, ma'am. Next witness, sir.
Your Honor, that would be all my evidence on this position.
Very well. Counsel, evidence on disposition.
Yes, we'd like to call Ms. Garber to the stand.
Certainly, ma'am. Please come forward. The court will swear you in. If you'll approach the witness stand, raise your right hand to be sworn. Ma'am, do you swear or affirm the evidence you should give in the case now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated. Your witness, sir.
Ms. Garber, what's your relationship to the defendant?
She's my daughter.
Okay. And does she have any brothers or sisters?
She has an older brother and a younger sister, and she helps tremendously with the family. She's mature for her age. She truly is.
So they're younger brother and sister.
Well, she has an older, and then the younger one, she has a younger 5th grade sister and 4th grade brother, yes.
Okay. And do you work?
I work a full-time job, I work a part-time job, I pay my bills, I take care of my family, I truly do. And she's a great help. She takes on more responsibility than any kid her age. I know she's made a mistake. I know that's why we're here. I know that's why all of this has happened the way that it has. But you have to understand, she's just a kid. And where she came from, we moved here. She didn't have any friends. That's important, you know. And she made some mistakes, and we tried to get that taken care of. And the treatment program she was sent to, we thought it worked, but it didn't work. So I'm just asking you to help her. Obviously, I don't know. I know she said she tested positive. I don't know all of that technical stuff about how long something's been in her system and all of that. But I do know that my daughter is really trying. She really is. She's had so many consequences from this. School consequences. I mean, she's a smart kid. You can go and look at her records. She has made good grades, and she's worked hard to get those grades. She's had lots of friends. Their parents won't even let them hang out with her anymore, like she's some bad kid, and she's not a bad kid.
Is there a father figure at home?
Not at this time.
So what would happen if Shari was incarcerated?
I'm working a job and a half job. It's just not going to affect her. It would be horrible. It would be horrible for my daughter to be separated from us. It would be. I couldn't work both jobs. I don't know who would take care of the 2 younger kids. I mean, you would not only be putting a smart young girl and incarcerating her, but you'd also be affecting her younger brothers and sisters. I don't know what to do with them. This is affecting her whole family.
Okay. And has she been punished at home?
Tremendously. I mean, she doesn't have a phone anymore. Half her friends don't contact her anymore anyways, but she doesn't have a phone anymore. Her screen time is down to almost none. I mean, she's been depressed ever since this has started. She doesn't go out anywhere. I mean, I grounded her, but...
She's been excluded from school, hasn't she?
Yes, I mean, her education. And I know that the government cares about her education, and you want her to be a good citizen.
You weren't able to homeschool her?
No, I have to work to take care of my family.
Thank you. That's all we want.
Thank you, sir. Mr. LaRufa, questions? Ma'am, thank you so much for your testimony. Please stand down. Next witness, sir.
We have no further witnesses.
Very well. Mr. LaRufa, the defense has rested. You may argue for an appropriate disposition.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I see the three aggravating facts in this case. First, this is a second offense for possessing marijuana. Second, as a parent of a middle schooler, the thought that children are bringing marijuana into the school system and potentially poisoning that environment horrifies me. So that I see as the second red flag in this case. And the third red flag, while all that was going on, she continued to use and tested positive here today. To use the baseball sort of analogy, Your Honor, 3 strikes and you're out. I think that the appropriate disposition at this point is we're going to go to the detention home, and I ask the court to sentence her appropriately.
Thank you. Defense, your argument, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. I think sort of the heavy hand of the law, incarceration is the last thing Charlie wants. You've heard that she's having mental health problems, she's suffering from depression. You've heard that there's been significant consequences for her already, not just the expulsion from school, the alienation, the social life, you heard us there as well, the loss of her phone. You've also heard about the consequences that this will have not just on incarceration in particular, but have not just on Charlie, but her whole family, the loss of her ability to care, and of course, this will have to quit her job if she is incarcerated. We really feel that some other punishment is appropriate here, and particularly treatment what you have is a victim, not a criminal. Yeah, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ma'am, is there anything you'd like to say before the court pronounces sentence this morning? Ma'am, if you and your counsel will please rise. Ma'am, you brought this on yourself. The school has had rules since the beginning of time. You had to sign a student handbook that advised you of those rules. There have been assemblies that you have attended that have informed you of those rules. I'm sure at some point your mother told you that you should not involve yourself with drugs or alcohol. And in spite of all of that, you did it anyway. You knew this was coming. And you knew that when you disobeyed your mother that there were going to be consequences at home. You knew that if you brought marijuana to school, that there were going to be consequences at school. And you knew from your prior diversion experiences that if you were convicted of such an offense, there would be consequences at court as well. Now, I realize that if you are confined, what that means is that your mother and the rest of your family are going to suffer immeasurably. Your siblings won't have proper care, or your mother won't have her job. This is a horrible outcome, and you did it to yourself, and you did it to your family. You knew this day would come, and you made those choices anyway, and those choices have consequences. Ma'am, I take no pleasure in doing this, but unfortunately it's what is called for under the circumstances. First, your ability to get a driver's license when you turn age 16 is delayed for an additional period of time, which means when all of your friends are going to be driving a car, you will not be able to do that. Second, the court orders that you be confined for a period of 30 days. Officer, she's in your custody. Court is adjourned.
this chair like hugs me a little bit with a couple cracks in it.
You won't mess up, but if you really feel like something is just totally off.
Okay, all right, not a problem.
Okay, great. So this play, I thought it was amazingly impactful. What are your thoughts about it and how it might impact the young people?
It's really important because it makes it real for them. The kids, as you saw the audience, they were as quiet. I haven't seen them that quiet, you know, and I've had them for 2 years now, and they were just quiet listening and really listening to the message. I think a lot of them have to go through their, you know, with their family situations, and they recognize some of these people that are on stage. Not only myself, but they realize that I also have a part in this whole situation, that it's just not me, you know, sending them home. That, you know, we care, and we're going to give them an opportunity, but that there's consequences each time, and that's what they need to know. And just listen to the silence says it all. And also to take what they heard and just having one conversation is really important. You know, every day we have a pride time where teachers have a smaller class and they build relationships and positive relationships with them to where they can have conversations about this that relate to their family or just relate to, wow, you know, that's real, you know. So.
2 other questions. One, have you seen a different, well, I guess this is the first time you've experienced it. How do you think this is going to impact the kids moving forward?
I think, well, similar to, I guess, you know, them making connections, but I think when they are confronted by a situation, they're going to take that 1 second and hopefully remember the image of the judge or the image of, you know, the lawyers and say, remember what he said? You know, don't do it. Don't take it. Don't hold it. Don't do it to be cool. And I think that hopefully just that 1 second will make a difference.
And finally, why should the county care? Why should lawmakers care? Why should residents who don't have kids care? Why should we care about this and how it impacts the kids?
Yeah. It's important because, one, these kids are going to grow up and take care of us one day. You know, so we have to, they are children, and I remind myself all the time, even when they make mistakes, they are still children. And so it's important for everyone to have this program, and it's important to everyone because, you know, the kids need that guidance. They may not get it at home, or they may not, for whatever reason, but they need to know that we do care, and that this is a very important issue that can affect their education, affects the environment of the school, and, you know, if we don't take care of it, we're not going to have education here. You know, we're not going to have successful children who are going to carry on skills to the high school and upper levels of college, because it's going to create, you know, a block for them and for many other students that have to deal with it. So.
No, Thaddeus, I'm going to sit on the edge of my seat. Is that okay? It's okay if you make me say something that makes me lose my job, because I want to work with my grandkids at home, so it's okay.
Okay, great. Now you are a mom, an actress, a grandmother.
I don't know if I'd say an actress, but yes, a mom and a grandmother, yes.
Okay, so tell me, as a grandparent and parent, why is a skit like this so important?
I think kids learn in many different ways, and having a visual, having something that's going to engage the kids and get the information out there, the kids need to feel it. They need to understand. There's the awareness piece in this. I think it's just a great way to educate. It's just another way to learn.
Let's talk about, as a parent or a grandparent, having to go through this experience. Give me an idea of how it might feel, just based on you acting, and how it's going to impact not only impact the family, but the community as a whole.
And I think that's one of the things we really want to get across to the kids. There are going to be school consequences, there'll be legal consequences, but those, especially at this age, those social consequences, the family, that's when they start to really feel it. This isn't just about me. We all make decisions every day. We have choices, and every choice has a consequence, and we want the kids to understand that when they walk out of here, and especially the little actresses or actors that we get that come and play these roles. We always brief them in the end, okay, here's the judge, you're going to go get your license later and you'll see another judge, but we don't want you before the judge for any other reason. And you're going to be a teacher the rest of the day, because kids are going to come up to you and talk to you about this. Talk to them about choices. You know, choices, every choice has a consequence. And just how that all unfolds, not only for here and now, but for their future.
I'm going to ask you to be the parent now.
Okay.
What would it feel like if that was your child?
I would probably be a whole lot more passionate than I was up here on stage today even. If that was my child, you know, there's so many emotions that are involved with that, because, and sometimes kids get the perception, even if they're watching shows on TV, that they're victims, because it can be portrayed that way. And what we want them to understand is, you know, I play an enabling mother. Lots of times what happens is, you know, we as parents and grandparents, with all the love that we have for our children, we just want to keep them from falling down, getting hurt. And sometimes as they grow up, sometimes we adults try to keep them from the consequences of their choices. And, you know, if parents are out here watching, we want them to understand too that allowing your children to have their own consequence, natural consequence for their actions, it's a whole lot better if you let it happen when they're children than wait till they're older, because they're not. You don't want an adult to have to learn these lessons. You want them to learn them as children along the way.
And why don't you want an adult to learn?
Because it's pretty much now changed their entire life. When they're kids, you know, we talk about the frontal lobe being the last thing to develop, which is true for decision making. And so we understand kids make poor choices. I mean, we all make mistakes, but kids, that's why we have adults and those protective factors around them. But we also want them to, unless you make a mistake, realize it's a mistake, and then move from that mistake to learn something so it doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, sometimes kids make mistakes. They just have to say, I'm sorry, and then they move on, but they didn't learn anything from that mistake that they made, because we want to protect them. We want to say, okay, they're sorry, let's move on. But the whole thing about making mistakes is to learn a lesson from that and see how you can be better. Not bitter, but better as you move on.
Okay, but and just talks briefly about if they don't learn from the mistake, how does that affect the county as a whole, the community as a whole?
I'm the child safety coordinator for the police department, and the police department cares about, you know, and that's why they invest in SRO and myself in these plays, is because they care about having responsible citizens. You know, the police department is a very reactive group, and we want them to be. When we make that call, we want them to respond. But they're also a proactive group. We know that if we can do things ahead, that will help people make better choices so that the police don't have to respond. That's not the police's goal, is to lock people up. The police want people to understand. We start in kindergarten with, why do we have rules? To keep us safe. You know, and so we want them to have that understanding, starting with STEP in the elementary schools, and then as they go into the middle and to the high schools. You know, what we teach them is, with more freedoms come more responsibilities. So it's a balance.
Thank you very much. That was awesome.
And we can get as many as we want for the following year, but they have to book. They book their schedule 6 months in advance.
Oh,
so yeah. So if they have cases, of course, they can't change stuff around.
Whoa!
I know.
Okay, great. So tell me how this program fits into the overall charge of youth planning and development, and why it's so important.
It is so important to us because we are here to educate the youth on drug abuse, drug use, I guess, and the consequences of it. And the program was started many years ago when Cheryl Adams took 4 kids to YADAP, Youth Alcohol Drug Prevention Program, and they came back from that charged with this motivation to share this information with students. And from that, the skit was made. And it's just something that we can show them exactly what's going to happen if they do something like that.
And you've been doing this for how long now, and how impactful has it been so far? Have you seen or heard about a difference?
This is my first year doing this program. I can see it by the feedback of the students and also the principals, and how schools are asking for us to come to them. We didn't have enough principals or enough dates to fit the need of all the schools that really wanted us this year. So they realized that it is important.
Great. So without this program, I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what are the possible consequences without youth and development?
Youth planning and development, yes.
And a program like this, and things that you create to help educate?
Well, our department is very unique because most of what we do is just share information. We get calls all the time about my daughter, my son has done this, they're using drugs, I don't know what to do, and what can we do? And we just offer them the resources. We move them to the right place, be it school or within the county or the resources that we have. With this program, what I think it does is it really just shows the kids what's going to happen. And kids are so visual, and so when they see that their student in handcuffs, I think it really makes a serious impact on them.
And overall, that impact, how do you think it's going to serve the county as a whole?
Well, it's going to save money for the first thing, because we don't have to have the kids through the judicial system, which is a big part. And then we also have a juvenile detention center, so it would help keep the attendance down at the detention center. And you know, kids that usually use possibly grow into adults that use, or behind the wheel when they're using will cause accidents, which will also impact our county too. So youth using drugs is a huge impact on our county.
Thank you, Kelly.
Excellent.
Good.
Yes.
Swing.
Yeah.
Can I do one more? Because
Sure.
I'm trying to, it's going to help me weave everything together here possibly. Talk about more about
Youth planning.
and development and how it links with all these other departments that touched on youth.
Okay.
And how by, your role in the whole prevention side of things does talk more about that and the impact and the money that it saves and the pain that it saves and the blah, 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 and all that.
Talk to Diana.
SAFE as well, the partnership with
Okay.
SAFE and how that helps, bring the county, the nonprofit, schools, police all together if you can.
Yeah, if you want to talk about, drop in the term, healthy living or healthy lifestyles or, like that. 'Cause that's
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what do you think about what Carolyn just said?
Like I mentioned, youth planning development is such a unique department because what we do is we work with many different departments in the county and also the schools and nonprofit coalitions, from things like SAFE, Sons of Abuse Free Environment, which actually started in youth planning development. Cheryl Adams, who got inspired by, not inspired, but was very encouraged, exactly, to spread the information about drug prevention for youth. And that kind of started SAFE. It came from our department. And so what we do is we gather these nonprofits, the other departments, the police, the schools, prevention. We work with so many different areas that really help bring us together to make sure that we have healthy youth in our community. And that really is our goal, is to create healthy mind, body, spirit within our community.